Hello and welcome back to Higher Sense with Haz, and today we're off to Paradise with Share Paradis by Kilian. Share Paradis by Kilian is a 2025 release, so new for the channel, and it's been described as a fruity floral fragrance. Let's have a look at those notes. In the top we have cognac, liqueur and raspberry. And then in the mid, we've got tonka bean, Bulgarian rose, and oak moss. And then down in the base, we have praline, oak, and sandalwood. This is an extrait de parfum concentration. 50 mils comes in at £290, which is just under £6 per milliliter. So it's certainly not cheap. Does it justify the price tag? Let's find out. Angel Share Paradis by Kilian is a flanker to the original Angel Share, which was released in 2020. And I've heard a lot of murmurings of people saying that brands are just releasing flankers to cash in on popular fragrances. Well, to be perfectly honest, a 5-year gap is reasonable to release another fragrance from the same line. Now, is this worth the upgrade from Angel Share? Let's have a look. Now, the bottle, as you can see, it's a very nice whiskey cognac type tumbler, but this version has a wooden lid. It's got the logo on the top there. It fits quite snugly, and yeah, I think it looks really good. It's an excellent bottle, look good on the display. Now, the acid test. Let's have a look at the atomizer. Yep, it's a good Kilian atomizer, as I've come to know. A nice cloud of fragrance there. Getting some lovely notes off the top. Now, having worn this fragrance for 3 days now, I can give a full opinion on what I think about it. Now, in the top of the initial blast, I'll also put some on my hand there, just so I can let the fragrance develop on skin, because it's important to try things on skin and not just in the air on tester strips, because it'll come across and develop different. Everyone's skin chemistry differs. Now, in the top, you get a blast of raspberry. Now, that is different from the original formulation, which didn't have raspberry in the top. It was just cognac, I believe. So in the top here, you've got the cognac, you've got the liqueur notes, and you've also got that raspberry. That raspberry, obviously, it's fruity, but it's a touch dark, it's a bit sour, and a bit tart. Now, to me, that adds an excellent edge to the opening and certainly comes across differently from the original. So in the top, very good opening. Going through into the mid, you've got some tonka bean for sweetness. You've got a bit of oak moss to give a little bit of earthy, woody notes. But then you've also got the Bulgarian rose. It's a touch floral. It's quite red. It's quite soft. It's not powdery. And you can't really smell it that strongly, which is good, because this fragrance is dominated really by the cognac, liqueur, and raspberry, and it's supported by the florals and the woods. Coming through in the base, you get a nice praline, which adds a sweetness to the compound. You've got sandalwood, which again adds creaminess and complements the other notes very well. And you've got oak, which is a strong, solid wood, quite earthy, but gives longevity and a nice backbone to the fragrance. All in all, there's 9 notes in this. I think it's blended excellently, just like a good cognac should be, and I think the notes complement each other. The raspberry and the cognac is quite dominant, but the fragrance develops well over time on the skin, and it's very pleasant. The projection on this, it's good. I would say 2.5 feet, maybe even a touch more for the opening hour or so. It projects very well, I would say. The longevity on this, it's an extrait de parfum, so I was getting, I'd say, a solid 7 or 8 hours out of this, which you'd expect from an extrait de parfum. It is quite strong and it does last well. Now, for me, if you have to put your nose on your skin to smell a fragrance, that's not it. That isn't it performing. That's the end of the fragrance. If you can smell it from an inch or two, then to me, that is the life of the fragrance. And I got 7 or 8 hours out of this before I had to really bury my nose into my hand. to detect it. Now the sillage on this, which is the scent bubble around you when you move around or you're in close proximity to people, it is quite a nice scent bubble. It's quite strong, certainly for the first few hours, and people will notice you. I have had a few compliments on this fragrance, people asking what it is and thinking that the fragrance comes across as really nice and fruity and a little bit boozy. They seem to like this fragrance. So yes, all in all, performance-wise, it performs. Where to wear this fragrance? Well, to be perfectly honest, I think it's well-rounded and it's versatile. I think you could definitely wear it to a date night. Evening socials would be perfect for this, whether it's gigs, sporting events, clubbing, or hanging around with your friends at the bar. Stuff like that would be perfectly suited to that with the liqueur and fruity edge to it. Could you wear it at work? I think you could if you were light on the spray. I mean, when I wore this for the performance element of it, I was wearing 4 or 5 sprays. Now, if I was wearing this at work, 1 or 2 sprays would be fine. Evening socials and date nights, I might give it an extra spritz just to give it that paradise effect. But yeah, I think you could wear this in most situations and you could just adjust the number of sprays that you're using. But I think it's versatile and it covers a lot of eventualities. Seasons to wear this: autumn, winter would be perfect. Summer, I think you could wear it in the summer, especially on an evening when it cools down slightly. Or you could wear it on holiday, on the beach, at light sprays. I think it's versatile enough for that, certainly. And the boozy, fruity element does come across somewhat summery. Now, in the winter, if you wear it, the woods and the earthy notes would be a bit more apparent and it would cover that as well. I think there's only spring where I wouldn't wear this. I don't think that's an appropriate season for this, so I'd avoid the spring. Everything else, game on. So the dry down, I think Paradis Angel Share Flanker by Kilian, I think it's an excellent release. And I do think, so far as flankers go, it's justified. Now, at the price point, can I justify paying that for this fragrance? Can I recommend this fragrance to you, the viewer? I think I can. And the reason I would say that is it's quite individual. It's got character. It's a strong fragrance. It performs really well. And it ticks a lot of boxes. So if you don't have something of a similar note range and in a similar category, then definitely go for this. Now, as a standalone fragrance, I would still recommend it. I really enjoy this. I love the original Angel Share, and I think this is a fantastic flanker. Now, if you have the original, would I get this? Yes, I think I would. And here on Higher Sense, just to prove my point, here is the original Angel Share by Kilian. And as you can see, I've worn it a bit. This is my second bottle. It was one of my original favourites, and I was going to review it on the channel before this new one came out, and I just had to get it for you guys. The $1 million question: if you have Angel Share, should you get Angel Share Paradis? Now, I will spray the original on my hand just to compare it to the Paradis. Yep, that's how I remember it. Excellent, gourmand, sweet. It's got cinnamon in there, it's got vanilla in there, and cognac up the top. It doesn't have the florals and doesn't have the raspberry. Now that comes across as a bit more youthful, a bit more playful, certainly sweeter than the Paradis version. I would say that Paradis is a bit more mature. It's a bit more refined. It's not as sweet. It's got a slightly darker edge. I do like the tartness from the raspberry, and the raspberry note gives a different element to the fragrance. The florals also add a touch of class in there and maturity. The oak moss complements the woods, and I would say personally, out of the two, I prefer Paradis. Now, am I going to sell the original Angel Share? No, I'm not, because it's a great fragrance, and I do believe that this has a part to play in my fragrance collection. I would wear it to different occasions and different events than the Paradis version. So I'm glad to add this to my collection, and I would say that if you have the original Angel Share, certainly try Paradis. If you don't have the original Angel Share, then I would say definitely try the Paradis. For me, I think Paradis suits my personality and demographic a bit better than the original. Both great fragrances, but Paradis does justify the flanker variation. When I think of paradise, I think of sun, sea, sand and scents. Does Angel Share Paradis fit that itinerary? You bet it does. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.